Let's be honest, the Minecraft challenge community is saturated with all basic challenges. Minecraft but you start in the nether, Minecraft but you can't go above ground. Those are all way too easy, but there is one man, above all, who's come up with such a formidable challenge. Challenger Andy, a legend at his craft, putting his sanity on the line for our own entertainment, a man of true commitment. What does this have to do with anything, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. 6 months ago, he released a new video of him beating Minecraft in the most painful, boring way anyone could come up with. Please go watch that video to understand the amount of pain that man went through. Now, I noticed something. He was the only one ever to beat Minecraft without left clicking, without jumping, without sneaking, without sprinting, and with no armor on hard difficulty. Keep in mind, people have done one part of those challenges alone all the time, but only one has done all of them together. Now it is my honor and duty, as a player with no sense of self-worth, willing to invest hundreds upon hundreds of hours into a project that has very little to no beneficial gain on my part, for the sole fact that I want to flex on people, to ascend to the highest level of being, beating this Minecraft challenge. Now, if you have ever seen Challenger Andy's video, you'll know the basic rules of this challenge. If not, here's a fast rundown. No left clicking means no attacking or breaking, no jumping means nothing bound to the key jump, that includes swimming, no sneaking, no armor, no sprinting, which I made a custom rule for. I don't trust myself at all, so if I ever did accidentally sprint, I would walk back to where I started sprinting and start from there. Slash kill requires OP, and I don't trust myself with that. Now, one key thing that you must know about this run. The mods I used would immediately disqualify me from any leaderboard position, so should I have used them? Probably not, but luckily for me, I stopped giving a fuck the second I thought this run was a good idea. The run started out how you think it did. Immediately, I walked into a lake and drowned myself. While waiting for night to begin the shit show of a run, I started walking around aimlessly, trying to see my surroundings, just so I have a general layout to where I can go. The pain I went through getting resources was just as bad as you could imagine. The never-ending cycle of getting blown up only to collect so few resources haunt me. Luckily, on the first night, I was able to craft a crafting table and get a chest, so I didn't have to worry about forgetting where I threw items, leaving them to despawn, which, thank fucking god I did. Not 5 minutes later, I was collecting resources, and I noticed a skeleton that was able to kill me, but as luck has it, the second I toss out my resources, it fucking dies. In front of my eyes sat the resources 2 blocks away from me that I couldn't pick up due to the rules of this shit fuck of a challenge. So in front of me, the resources despawned with nothing I could do to remedy the problem. The whole day I sat in that hole with my 2 rotten flesh, waiting for night to have a nice and sweet embrace of death. It wasn't until after a creeper fucking yeeted my helpless... or not. At least with the wood I got, I was able to climb back out of the hole with slabs. I aimlessly walked around trying to find a creeper, with the drowned casually yeeting tridents at me from the river. The rest of the night was as smooth as ever, with another fucker walking on land and impaling me from point blank as my helpless self sat in despair trying to use skeletons to kill the drowned, which somehow worked. Once dawn broke, I headed back to the tiny plains where I spotted the village and started to plan on getting over there. After bridging over the water, I made my way to the village and I decided to stay there, mainly because a good chunk of the village was accessible with very few slabs. Now I get to start on my next project, a mob farm. The choice of mob farm was very important in how fast your run would be. Challenger Andy went for a mob farm that was built on the ground that relied on mobs' random movement, but I had a better strategy. Luckily, I remembered a video from a while ago. Ilmango, a well-known redstone YouTuber, made a farm that is able to manipulate a mob's movement in a given area. How it works is it relies on a mob's passive movement. Mobs will check in a given area for a full block. Keep in mind, slabs, stairs, and such don't count as full blocks. So adding just a fat brick of full blocks and having them spawn on top of slabs allows us to control the movement of those mobs easily. With this knowledge, I threw together a quick mob farm that was decently easy to build. The build was an expensive one, requiring lots of wood blocks as they are easiest to collect that are able to be converted to stairs and slabs. But first, I need to get a lava bucket. The next long while I spent leading legions of mobs to this 1 iron golem for it to be killed, and as luck would have it, the golem dropped 3 iron, which is perfect for me to get some lava. Now I had to find where I could get lava, and holy fuck, it was hell. The path I walked to get a single bucket of lava was honestly the worst experience of my life. Every slab I paced felt like it would take an eternity to get back, but I knew it'd be worth it because it would make killing the golem much faster. Luckily, it only took 10 slabs for me to be able to locate a ruined portal, which had a lava source. But you wanna know what I forgot? A goddamn bucket. The only reason I was on this trek was for lava, so I had to walk the whole goddamn way back to grab the damn bucket. So let's recap. To get a lava bucket, which takes about 1 to 2 minutes for an average speedrunner, took me close to 2 hours. God, this is a painful run. The lava is placed in a cave for easiest access. You wanna know what I do? After only 20 minutes of having that lava, I made it into fucking obsidian. Now I had to rely on a flint steel I crafted with the other golem's corpses to be able to destroy some blocks and kill more iron golems for iron. Originally my idea was to bridge with lava over the ocean to get to the center to build the mob farm, but now since I didn't have one, I either had to locate a new lava source or bridge to the middle of the ocean. Checking my mini-map for any lava sources, I noticed 2 possible locations on where lava can be located. The first location was another ruined portal in the middle of a forest about 350 blocks away. The second spot I noticed when I was coming back was an open pit in the ground that had 2 lava sources in it. I was trying to figure out the simplest way of getting down there, as ladders and slabs were just too expensive for me to use right now. I scratched the idea and headed back empty-handed, having wasted over 20 wooden slabs. I checked my mini-map and noticed on the other land across the ocean there was a lava source spewing out of the mountain. Now I had to decide, was it worth spending possible hours of my life just to acquire a single bucket of lava? As a man of self-respect, only wanting the best for my mental health, there is only one logical answer. The crossing of the ocean took me about half an hour with only a few deaths, none of which were too brutal for me to deal with. Even better, there was a single source block chilling in a cave for me to easily scoop up, meaning I didn't have to waste precious slabs scaling a hill, or at least, I didn't have to go through the pain of hydro hopping everywhere. Better yet, when I checked my map after scooping up the lava, there was a lava pool chilling at sea level, which is extremely useful, as I don't have to spend slabs to get lava to make another portal. With my newly acquired lava, I went back to it. I finished the shitty beginner sheep farm and tried to build a trap for collecting mobs. My idea was for creepers to kill other creepers in order to obtain gunpowder, but it was just easier just to burn them with lava, and hope the gunpowder doesn't burn in the lava. Once I got my hands on a small amount of TNT, I blew up 2 of the villager houses, each giving a good yield of resources. That TNT drops 100% of the blocks they break, which is honestly the best change Microsoft ever made. There was also just a zombie spawner chilling directly below the village, so that was a thing. I just charged in there at a walking pace, placed torches down to stop the mob spawning. I also did a bit of fishing while waiting for night, but it really didn't help me. My third piece of TNT I used to get wood and sand by building a rudimentary tree farm that got me a decent amount of resources. About 6 hours into the run, I finally gained all the resources to build the mob farm. Walking back out in the open ocean, I began ascending to the sky with ladders, slowly reaching Y200. The build was slow as all of it was being made of wood. It would take 1 screw up to set me back hours of my life. The build was very simple, so I never had to revert back to the test world to see what needed to go where. The main concern I had when building was me falling off with all those resources. It would basically mean I am not able to get them back. Even though items float to the top, I would have to perfectly toss out items to float right next to the bridge, which was basically an impossible task. After anxiety flowed through my veins for an hour straight, this shitfuck of a build was done. It is ugly as ever, but honestly, I felt pretty proud of it. Even it looked like a first grader was high on meth and was told to build a mob farm with inverse Minecraft controls. So anyways, I wanted to get rid of the wool at the bottom, so I lit the wool on fire, but I wasn't smart enough to remember the entire ladder pillar is made out of wool. Thank God I'm not completely stupid, so I managed to stop the fire from spreading to the top of the mob farm. I finished my first AFK session, and it made a grand total of about 40 gunpowder an hour, which, for what it is, that's hella fast. With my newly acquired ability to break blocks, I started my quest of abusing it to the highest level, while simultaneously committing arson on the way. I also developed a strategy on how to get more wood, so yeah, I got quite the collection of resources going quickly. Now it was another time. Using the iron I've gotten from brutally genociding the villager golems, I crafted 10 buckets, forgetting I had 5 obsidian in my chest from one of the ruined portal. Oops. The portal build was simple, as I had a general idea on how to build a speedrunner portal. The other side of the portal wasn't bad, it was just that there were no fortresses nearby. I built a small barricade from the mob using walls and crimson wood fences. I didn't want to deal with that right now, so I started to work on a new sheep farm in order to trade them for emeralds. After committing a shit ton of collateral damage to sheep using man's worst friend, I led them to their new home and start their full circle family tree. While the village was burning, I started to get a white wool trade, which took a few attempts. I got a second villager to lock onto a loom, but his trades were shit and I didn't feel like trying to change its profession. Also, 2 villagers went through the portal before I put up the fence, so I had to force them back through. After the sheep fuckfest, I went back to Nether and started to look for another fortress, which, as luck would have it, the nearest one is 3 painful hours away from being able to get to. When I set my render distance to really fucking far, I saw across a warped forest a nether fortress, but there is no direct route for me to get to the nether fortress. So how did I plan on getting there? Exactly how you think I would. I got TNT to waste, why should I not burn through it? After a few minutes, I reached the other side and towered out into a warped forest biome. After traversing the biome a bit, I spotted the nether fortress in all its glory. All I had to do was make a bridge across the lava lake over to the fortress. Definitely safe. After dying a few times, I made it to the fortress and set up a safe entrance and exit for me to escape the fucking wither skeletons. I used a strategy of making it only possible for 2-eye mobs to be able to enter, making it impossible for wither skeletons to pursue me. It only took me 10 minutes to gather the blaze rods by peltering blazes with bows and arrows I bought from the Fletcher. After making easy work of the blazes, I went back to the overworld and began investing a hella amount of time into shearing sheep, selling them to the shepherd. After a few hours, a few inbreeding sessions later, I gathered all the pearls from the alchemist I needed and a few extra, and began preparing for my journey to the end portal. I spent my second and final AFK session that night AFK to gather the rest of the gunpowder I needed, which I got a fuck ton. After spending hours preparing for everything I needed for the trip, my journey began to the portal. After locating the area of the end portal, I started to tunnel down until I reached the stronghold. Now, how long do you think it should take for someone to locate the end portal? A minute? Maybe 2 minutes? Or even if you are a bit slow, maybe 3 minutes? Well, not fucking me. This motherfucker isn't even accessible without breaking blocks, which I'm calling bullshit on. If I didn't have my minimap, I would have never completed this damn challenge. And on top of that, the portal had no eyes, which is a 28.2% chance of happening. Luckily, I had exactly enough eyes. After staring at the depths of the end portal, I made my final preparations and prepared to jump in. Now, something you don't know about me. I've only ever beaten the Ender Dragon solo by myself once, back in May of 2019 during the Village and Pillage update. Keep in mind, I am now wanting to beat the Ender Dragon without armor, without jumping, without sprinting, on hard difficulty. It went as well as you think it would go. My original plan was to place 2 obsidian on the gateway and just nuke the fucker with beds, but I forgot the obsidian. So I had to make do with what I had, not wanting to go back to my base to grab 2 obsidian. I was finished. Hours of my life invested in beating Minecraft in the least efficient, most self-deprecating way possible. I jumped through the portal to freedom, and the credits rolled by. I skipped through half of them because I just couldn't be bothered reading them. And for my final act of violence, I did what any person would do to their kryptonite that kept their minds occupied for a time, making less progression in an hour than any high-pixel Skywalk player would. Hey guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you could you all hit the like and subscribe button? This video took over 14 active hours to record and close to 16 hours to edit. It'd mean the world for you to do that. Please comment down below if you have any good video ideas you would want me to see. Hey, we went to hell and yeah, gave him my art, playing the game, call it blackjack. Matter of fact, this ain't no game, girl, give it back.